My first crack is Xerri on ice. Tristan Xerri, the North Melbourne ruckman, and some people think will be the All-Australian ruckman, certainly the Kangaroos' best player. He's set for a long holiday. He'll get a 3-match ban for a clumsy hit on Melbourne's Tom Sparrow, which sparked a melee on ground, and for good reason. Look at that. The Melbourne players are all over him. They saw him. Poor Tommy Sparrow was concussed on the spot, so that's quite a remonstration there. Watch his swinging arm with the left. So Tommy Sparrow's head is over the ball. He's in possession, and that is a careless strike from Tristan Xerri. Now, there was a fair bit of niggle in this game, particularly in the ruck battle matchup in the point leading up to that, and that is just a careless strike. So, Joey, that's careless. It's clearly high, and it's severe on impact. Now, consistent with all the other suspensions, that's a 3-match ban for very important.
I don't know what your take is, but I've got no doubt that they will challenge that, because I think you can easily make a case that that's not a careless action. It was just accidental. That wasn't a swing arm like Conor Nash's a few weeks ago, where it was a real swing.
He was going for the ball, was he?
Well, he was trying to make a tackle. The arm was there, and
he was trying to make a tackle.
Yeah. What was it? Was he trying to hit him in the face?
Yeah, I thought it was a very clumsy high swing, and that's what makes it careless.
See, this was careless. That's a big roundhouse. I don't think what you saw with Tristan Xerri's was a roundhouse. That was a bit of an arm action that was a bit clumsy. And if you actually watch the Tristan Xerri one, like, these are careless. These are dangerous swinging arms. Xerri was a split second in front of him. I reckon if you have a look at that slow-mo of Tristan Xerri again, his arm, if Sparrow had have stayed upright, would have been at the chest. Unfortunately, because Sparrow had leant forward with a slight push, it turns from there to there. It was an ugly look for Tom Sparrow, and we hope he as well. But I think that the Kangaroos have got a great case to argue here that this was accidental. And we've spoken about this. Just because a player gets concussed doesn't automatically mean you have to suspend a player. There has to be a careless act. And if you look at that, it's just a split second, trying to slap the ball out, trying to make a tackle. He gets him high. And I think they could have a case to argue, Dale. What do you reckon?
Poor Tommy Sparrow's out before.
No, he is, and I hope he's okay.
So the first piece is you hope he's okay.
Yep.
I see that completely different to the Conor Nash one, because I feel like Nash had more space within that contest and chose to wind up and cop.
Do you think that's careless? Do you think that's careless or accidental?
If he was not trying to hit him, what was he trying to do?
I would not be shocked if that got off, but I think he's going to get 3. Because that's the system that we're living in. I think we still need space in the game to say that was... When we say split second, that was within, what, half a metre of the ruck craft to follow up, which all rucks are taught. Compete in the air, play at ground level.
He could argue that arm action happens 10,000 times in a game. That arm action in a contest. Now, unfortunately, it got him, and obviously got him flush, and that's the concern. But you can't say that arm action was a careless act on a footy field.
I don't think that's at all Tom Sparrow's fault, though.
No. What's the key question? What are you trying to do? If you're Tristan Xerri, what are you trying to do with that arm?
Oh, you're making a play on the ball, you're trying to make a tackle. I tell you what he's not doing is he's not trying to hit Sparrow in the face. That's what he's not doing.
There it is.
Are you saying he was trying to hit Sparrow in the head?
I think it was really careless. It was just clearly a careless action. He comes in high with his arm. Well, not intentional, careless. That's why
every high tackle in the game is careless.
Well,
you tackle someone high in a game, it's careless. That doesn't mean everyone's getting suspended for high tackles.
Yeah, angry he gets when he jumps up out of his seat.
One laptop
Let's have a listen to the two coaches, Melbourne, Simon Goodwin, and North Melbourne's Alistair Clarkson, on this contentious issue.
We're at the discretion, they'll look at every concussion, but they looked like LDU's concussion last week and said no case to answer. This is just a tackle that he's got very, very little time to prepare for the tackle. But unfortunately in the game there's just going to be collisions, especially around stoppage, and especially for the big rucks.
Well, I haven't really had a good look at it, and I don't really want to make any comment on it other than my first concern was for Tom and his family. Like, it looked nasty. And clearly when someone goes down like that you love and you care about, like his teammates do, they're going to rally around him, which they did. So, as I said, my first concern was with Tom.
Very clever man, Goody. I don't want to make any comment on it, but that was a nasty hit, is what he just said. Look, and the ruck battle did flip the script on the earlier matchup. Max Gawn wanted to turn the tables today, because back in round 2, you saw that Tristan Xerri had an outstanding game, really, in the North Melbourne win. That was a thunderblow to Gawn. We're talking about Xerri. He's taking his crown, his mantle as the #1 ruckman in the caper, but certainly Gawn today. And Gawn wasn't amazing, but he had the better of Tristan Xerri in the ruck
definitely.
battle
I was at that game in round 2. And the Kangaroos absolutely did a number on the Ds, and it was led by Xerri and the midfield. That's where it came from. But then what you start to remember pretty quickly is Max Gawn's a pretty proud guy.
Yep.
And he's really good at football. And he's just reminded us once again, I currently hold the All-Australian. If you want it, you better do something that's better than what I've done for a long time here, young fella. And he did. I mean, he hasn't had a great year even kicking from goal. I think that was his 4th for the year from memory. But he goes back and slots that one. They were combative the whole game. And rarely, if ever, do we still get those real good one-on-one battles. Now, we have the ruck battle because they don't, hand over and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
That felt a little bit personal today. That was Max Gawn saying, hey, no, it's still my Blazer as it currently stands.
I am still the big dog.
That's correct.
Max Gawn, you're right. A lot of pride at stake here. But what about Jake Melksham? This was almost the story of the game for me. 5 goals for the veteran. He's 33 years old, Leigh Montagna.
Yeah.
And he's become Melbourne's most threatening forward. Now, Kasai Pickett is he's a midfielder these days. He's a goal-kicking midfielder, kicked 29 for the season. This man, who started the season after a hamstring injury, has caught fire with 14 goals in the past 3 matches.
I think he's the last player since David Neitz to kick 4+ in 3 consecutive games for Melbourne.
Yep.
I mean, he now might be the poster boy for the veterans. I know it was the Sidebottom and Pendlebury early in the year and Dangerfield, but what he is producing for Melbourne is incredible for a guy at this age to still be so important to them in the forward 50. He's in a red hot...
14-8. 3 weeks ago, he had a game that was 5 goals, 6. They're crazy numbers. The short answer is, and this will be a long-term play, he's not the answer, though.
No, of course
That is not solving any problems if you're Melbourne. That does not fill you with confidence going forward that, hey, our 4-line problems are solved. A credit to him, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's a turn of form. That's been great.
He's a Band-Aid solution. Without a contract for next year, he will certainly get a deal and maybe a few extra clams in that contract. Well done to you, Jakey Melksham. Right, it was a nice game today with Sydney just pipping the Saints, who were quite brave in this one. And it came down to a thrilling last quarter, in particular, some massive moments, Joey.
Yeah, well, it was always going to come down to some moments in the 4th quarter. Again, it's a bit of rinse and repeat, though, for St Kilda their last month. Like, they've been excellent in their effort and their endeavour, and their opportunities just weren't good enough to win. It was the case against Collingwood, Fremantle, Hawthorn last week, and then something similar in this game here where Sydney were able just to... I mean, their stars stepped up. Hayward kicked a couple. This brilliant bit of play for Errol Goulden, who really wasn't one of the best on ground, which is unusual for Errol when he plays, but they just found the moments, and Warner and Goulden had a couple of touches late that just sealed the game. So well done to the Sydney Swans. They've recalibrated after that, really ordinary start to the season with some personnel back. But you had to like a lot about what St Kilda did.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when the siren goes, you go, that's about right. That's the difference with the talent of both teams. And, I thought the Saints were brave. They gave everything they had effort-wise, which you always expect with a Ross Lyon coach team. But that's just reality of where these two teams currently sit. The world's different with Errol Goulden as a midfielder, and Brodie Grundy's last 7 weeks have been exceptional. Once again, he was one of the top-ranked players on the ground.
Massive class difference between these two sides, let's be honest. But Brodie Grundy, we spoke about Ruckman and All-Australian contenders. He is having some part of the season. He's had an absolute purple patch. And tell me this isn't the ruck tap of the season. It goes behind his back almost to Errol Goulden on the fly. Left hand, if you don't mind, absolutely perfect. They would have practiced that a lot, of course, but it doesn't get any better than that.
It's like a little 6 o'clock, meaning it's over the back of your head and you're running goal side, and it's Errol Goulden on his preferred left foot. Your ruckman does the tap and the midfielder finishes it off. That is perfection.
Perfect set play. You had Warner going on the right foot, Goulden coming around on the left. Good luck, and pick your poison. They couldn't stop it.
You love that connection and cohesion. Right, it's time now for Health is Your Best Player, thanks to HBF Health Insurance. And unfortunately, it's not good news for the Gun Swans defender in Tommy McCartan. Now, we know he's got a concussion history, and there was this incident today in a contest there with Max Heath. So I feel this is you can see he just comes across and makes some contact with his arm. And
does that mean, has Max Heath got anything to worry about? Does that fit the criteria to what you said to me with
for me,
Xerri?
For me, I think that was more of a genuine marking contest. He had eyes for the ball. You slow it down frame by frame, and it is a genuine contest. McCartan just courageously sort of comes across into the pathway. So I think you'll be okay. Just the McCartans and the concussion issue.
How many has he had?
It's his fifth. No, it's his fifth concussion. He had the one in the final against GWS Giants last year.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of footy in 2023 with a couple of concussions. It's a serious concern. The way that he went down and stayed down for that couple of seconds. We know the history with the McCartan family with concussion. It's going to be something that they're going to have to seriously have a chat about, and where the rest of the season lays for Tom.
Didn't look to be a particularly heavy blow.